Guy and Rudy and Gabriel, who'd always said like they wanted me to film for their next PAL video after Bandit. That's what they kept telling me. They were like, well, we're not on PAL anymore. We're on Blind. Do you want to come down to LA and film us for the Blind video? And it's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I'm 17.
Are you just writing letters to each other?
We're writing letters and calling on the phone.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like Christmas break at the end of 1990. And at this point, I'm like, I'm ready. I can come down. They're like, okay, cool. Come down. You'll stay at Rudy's.
How old? What's the age difference? Are you guys the same age?
Well,
or
I think Rudy and I are the same age, and Gabriel. I think Guy's just a click younger than us.
Okay.
But we were all 17.
That's incredible.
Basically. But the thing to me that I go like, I give my parents so much props, so many props, is I was 17 and a half years old, and they just saw a kid who was like
hyper focused,
just like, and they're just like, okay, and I'm like, I need to go to LA to film this thing. Like, come on. Okay, Jacob, you can go. And I'm driving alone from
to LA.
San Francisco to LA as a 17 and a half year old.
I'm sure at that point too, they know who you are. They know what you're, it's not like you're some, like fuck up kid.
Yeah, for sure.
They saw your passion.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Sure.
But,
I mean, I don't know. You could have been drinking and smoking weed back then. I don't know.
No, I wasn't.
It sounded to me like you had your.
I was pretty. I mean, look,
focused.
I like I said, I was searching for being seen and being acknowledged and being affirmed. So I did my fair share of things to be a part of things. Yeah. But I've always known like, okay, dude, you have this task in front of you.
Which is interesting to me because it seems like when those guys got on Blind, I mean, they had filmers, right? Didn't they have Sock and everybody back then?
Not
yet. No, they had no filmers.
There's a weird Spike
Jones.
Spike is the filmer, and then you would film each other then.
Yes.
So if you had a camera. Now there is a filmer that filmed Rudy. And one of the things that I did is Rudy sent me all his raw footage, and I edited a video of Rudy for Rudy.
Oh, wow.
During that summer before I went down for the Blind video. And I cut it to the Beatles, and I did like an interview with him for No Way. So that there's like a little bit of voiceover over the beginning of it. And it's like this 12-minute video that eventually like got out. Like everyone like saw it and was like, oh, you
How?
Because I would send a copy down to Rudy, and then I probably sent one to Guy and to Gabriel. And then they would all Paul Luna, not Paul Luna, that's with Jeremy Ray, but there's another friend in their group that like filmed a bunch of that stuff. Rudy posted one of those clips recently. He did that backside ollie on that curb, and he carves around backside and then does a 360 flip out. And it's like,
I don't
he just literally ollies, boom, and he carves in a circle or half circle and then 360 flip on a big ass fucking PAL board.
Wow.
And so I kind of made that video. So, that was filmed by his friends, but those friends weren't really, I think, I don't know that they were going around all of LA and, and at that point Spike had, made Rubbish Heap. And so, Mark is really pushing on this new video. So Mark and Spike are filming, even Jason filming, I think too. And then they're like, yeah, Jake, you got to come down. And at that point, it was like, I'd made the video for Rudy. I'd made a part of Gabriel that I sent him and all these photos that they have. So it was like,
God, it's so smart.
And then we just stay with them.
It's so smart.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. And then I'm at Kenter filming Mark Gonzalez, Jason Lee, Rudy Johnson, Guy Mariano, and Gabriel Rodriguez.
Could you imagine?
And I'm 17.
Even today.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, sure.
Let alone back then.
It's like I sincerely trip out at that, because in that moment there was nothing to it other than like, Mom, Dad, I gotta, please, you gotta let me go. You gotta let me go down there. And it's like, okay, Jacob, but you have to do this and you have to do that,
Was that like you were missing school, or was it during a break?
It was during a break.
Oh, okay. So
it was during a break. Eventually, I dropped out of school. We'll get to that. But
so at this point in time, what are you filming for?
For the Blind video.
For the Blind video.
So it was like
video days.
Well,
no. Yeah.
Yeah, video days.
Okay.
Yeah. It would become video days. But it wasn't like, hey, Jacob, will you come film for video days?
No, for sure.
It was like, Jacob's going to come into town, and it's like, okay, we're just going to film.
Yeah, right. Right. So video days was the video. Okay, gotcha.
And at the same time in the Bay Area, I'm shooting useless wooden toys.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So because Steve Douglas was a camp counselor at skate camp, and Steve was giving so then it's just like, but again, I was talking about this with someone recently. Like when I went to Embarcadero, I'd never had a problem at Embarcadero. I don't ever remember having a problem at Embarcadero. That is not the story for 99.9% of the people.
Okay.
But that's because the first time I was there, I was filming someone who was supposed to be there. And the second time I was there, I was filming someone else that was supposed to be there. That's why I feel very indebted to someone like Gabriel, who literally said, I want you to come down and be with my crew and film my friends. And to guys like Rudy, who put me in his house and kind of put up with the irritable qualities of me and Guy, you know, who, and it's like those guys, they said, come on, come on, you can come down and do this. And then we're filming with the Gons. At
this point in time, have you met Rocco? Have you met, like, is there any point of talks of being hired? Or
it's not even,
this is a homie
It's not
thing.
even that. It's like, I've actually found my check from Blind in some of my thing. I think I got paid like $600 for the clips that ended up going into Video Days. And it was just like, okay, here's the deal. Like, come on down and film, and then give them the tape. Like at that point, I'm like getting paid from no way. I probably in a lot of the situation was just filming for free. Like, yeah. I mean, just here, like, there's the tapes. The gnarly thing that happened to me was I would take those trips, and I wasn't 18, so I back then you couldn't have a credit card if you weren't 18. You couldn't have a credit card, in general, unless you were like super. You were like realized that it didn't matter how old you were.
Sure.
But like I would be traveling, and if like I ever needed to stay at a hotel or something like that, it just wasn't possible. Like it just wasn't possible. So I remember sleeping in my car a few times, and it was just, that's what you did, right? That's skate. Like, we just got it. That's
no brainer.
Yeah.
Pull over.
Yeah.
Make it
work. Make it work.
Yeah.
What
And
was
so
it
you're
like-
also, go ahead.
I was like, what was it like filming back then with that crew? Because like, obviously skating now, people go and they try trick over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
It seemed like back then it was just like go out and see what happens, and then
I think it was the beginning of what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
Like that Kenter session has Jason Lee's back, kickflip backside 5-0 to tail, right? Where he goes boom, grinds, and then kind of boink.
You filmed that?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And recently it was like Jason's birthday maybe 5 years ago, and I went back to the tape and found all the raw footage, and there's just so much gold in there. But he was trying that trick for a really long time. A really, really long time.
Wow.
Not like ridiculous, but he was like, I'm going to do this trick. Now, Guy and Rudy and Gabriel, they were trying other tricks at that session that they didn't land. Some amazing stuff. Like I think backside 50-50, big spin out, back into the bank.
Oh, wow.
Like good gnarly tricks. But I think then it was like you'd roll up, the skater, at that point, I wasn't envisioning the video. I was just, I'm here to film you.
Yeah.
I think when I got a little bit older, only a little bit, then I would like start to envision the video to be like maybe, Jerron, it'd be dope if you backs up 180, flip that. Like, later that would happen. But at that time, it was just like, I'm just Mark Gonzalez. I'm just filming you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and I think some of that stuff did take a long time. But there's also some sessions where dudes just do dope tricks really cleanly and quickly, and then you're on to the next spot.
Because even we were talking about when you were filming Carol up at, you sent us this video of him, fakie tray front nose.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But he just tried it a couple times, and then he moved on, and he nollie flipped the three.
The three right after that. Yeah.
And you're just like, yo, that you just tried.
He got into it. Like,
tray flip, front nose, Eddie and B, and you just said,
blindside.
Let me nollie flip the big three. Instead.
And literally,
like, what?
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think specifically for virtual reality, there was, and it's been highly discussed, is there was this sense of having to one-up questionable and really do more tricks. So I think there's a lot of stuff, and I've gone through my raw tapes and I've seen it. There's a lot of stuff like, oh my God. Like people have no idea if he landed that. Like, like 5 years later, someone maybe was doing it. Because if you're doing a trick, you may feel it, and then you may just like not be at a spot that's the right spot for that trick. So then you're just not going to do it for a while. You're not going to, because it was so like, dude, skateboarding was such a fucking bust back then. It was, all that footage is like, we're there and then we're kicked out. And and then we're kicked out. So I think you were sort of, there's that moment in time where you're kind of glad you get what you get before you get kicked out.
Sure. I just find it interesting, that balance of trying to get a trick for so long, but then there's other people in SF years later that are just kind of like a nonchalant, try this. Oh shit, that was crazy. I'm going to go try that.
Yeah.
Right.
No. And I'm sure they did try tricks for a long time, but there was a balance.
It's that's, we'll get there eventually. That's the long tail of like, it was bad. Mm-hmm. It's just hard as a filmer.
Yep.
And I'm here for the filmers, I'm here to say that like, it is hard to stay focused when someone's not landing something, and you may even see or think or feel why.
Right.
Like I it's arrogant for a filmer to say they know how to do a trick, but it's not untrue when you see it and you look at it and you can tell something needs to change.
100%.
But whether the skater is fluid enough to make that adjustment, scoop your back foot higher, just scoop your back foot higher, and then, they landed. Well, I've never fucking done that trick, but like I could see that that's where you're getting stuck up.
Totally. You're there front row center.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And and then it gets hard. And then at that point, we're all so damn young that you're trying things infinitum. You're like, fuck this shit. Right? So now you're being patient to just film in the off chance that you catch the unicorn. And then you're not going to get the unicorn because you see how it's all going down. What you're going to get is,
Right. Okay, well, sorry for the detour, but let's go back. We'll go back to blind video days and submitting footage. Being in LA with those guys, even sleeping in your car. Yeah. Now, when that video kind of comes to a head and you see that, like, okay, wow, we're actually making a video. When did you realize that?
So I'm like, again, that's all happening in LA. You're
going back and forth.
No.
Oh, wait, you only came down once?
I came down twice.
Oh, okay.
At 90 at New Year's, and then a couple months in 91. And there's, again, it's like the avalanche of things that happened for me at that time. It is hard to actually go through it all. But I go to LA, I film. I think I meet Spike there. I'm with Mark, Jason, Rudy, Guy. I give them my tapes. Like, here you guys go. Like, I think I was so enamored that I didn't even take my tapes home. Like, later I would keep my tapes and transfer what I knew was my good shit.
Like, here you go, Guy. Here you go, Rudy.
Yeah. And then video days.
Could you imagine?
I mean, that was the
I'm sure they're stoked.
Well, yeah, I mean, because watching footage back then of yourself, like you pop in the tape and play it back,
I used to be in that video bin all the time watching that shit.
Yeah. At the park.
At the park, yeah.
Fuck that. Fucking, I slept.
Bro, I keep bringing it up, and I'm gonna continue to bring it up. There's so much that has not been seen in those transfer tapes.
Well, so that's the sock era. Like, so
that's the sock era.
That's the sock era, and that's the Tim Dowling era.
Yes.
And then when Aaron Meza moves to LA, but in this moment in time, and it's, I want to be like delicate framing myself in that moment. I happen to be very young, and I happen to be contributing to these what would become, legendary videos.
100%.
There was no like design or forethought other than I just want to film and I want to submit my footage. But then when I see it in that like is a bona fide.
So you never knew that until you saw the video that's what it was?
Oh, I had no idea what footage of mine would be in it.
Okay.
Until I saw the video. And then, hey, and by the way, I was like, oh, that's rad. They gave me credit. Like, that wasn't a given, but I was like, oh, and by the way, they found a really weird, obscure thing in my footage too, which is when Gons bails that trick and he's wearing the Israel shirt and he looks up. And that's me on the camera shoving the camera in his face, which I, for better or for worse, did a lot.
So
what was your first time watching the video?
Oh, I was at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or it could have been at the skate shop.
Wow, that must have been wild.
I think we all agree that Mark Gonzalez is one of like the most incredible creative minds. I'm not going to categorize him to skateboarding because I think his mind is beyond that. But his way of expressing himself and seeing the world and seeing movement through skateboarding is unparalleled. Sure. Rodney's in that category. Yes. Neil Blender's in that category.
Sure.
You know, but I think Mark and then that collaboration with Spike created this thing. And when you watched it, dude, and those dudes go off the cliff at the end and it has the drunk driving number at the end, you're just like, there are no rules.
I thought they all died.
Well, of course. Of course. I mean, of course. I mean, I know
I think my parents even walked in and was like, "Oh, that's a shame. These skaters died." Like it's like
I remember just saying "Vaya con Dios" because it was at the end. Like, I just said that phrase. But when I saw it, I was just like, "Wow!" Like, you know, Guy skating to Jackson 5. Fuck! Like, oh, what a good choice.
Yeah.
You know, Mark skating to Jazz and that fucking backside ollie edit, that floater edit, and then you know, and seeing
Jason Lee, Milk.
I mean, all of that stuff.
Did you film any of Jordan Richter's stuff?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. Okay. But I knew Jordan back then.
Yeah.
You know? So after that, he lived at Danny's quite often when we were filming Questionable.
Nice. So you're just continuing on with your life. You're going down there. You went down there twice. You filmed those guys. You're back up in, you know, Palo Alto area, doing that stuff, working on Useless Wooden.
Again, so at that point, so the LA trip, that's just, okay, still friends with Guy and Rudy. Yeah. Okay. Like still staying in touch with them, sending photos to, you know, the magazine, because I'm still at that point still working for No Way. No Way becomes Anyway. So the Jeff left the publisher and then started Anyway. Okay. Some funny sidebar I will say. I found some faxes recently, and literally one of the faxes was like, "Jake, I was expecting the photographs to be better." And I was like, me too.
Where is that like button? Right? Is it right here or right here?
Just a little scroll coming down the bottom.
It's
subscribe
over to it's on your
it's on my
left.
Right?
No, on your left.
Hey, hit that button right there.
Right there.
Right there.
The like button's kind of like in the middle there. It's like we're kind of like
it's like right here?
Kind of.
Like right there.
The subscribe's like over to the left.
It's like right over there. All right.